Welcome to Strike a Pose, the web series from Sideshow in which 3 contestants battle it out in a 6-scale figure posing competition. Each contestant will be given 12 minutes to hit the best pose that they can. When the time's up, they'll all 3 be judged in 3 categories: creativity, composition, and character. The contestant with the best overall score wins. Okay, let's meet today's posers. First up, we have Garrett. Next is Paul. And last but not least, Rahul. Hey Garrett, how you doing?
Terry Smith, I'm doing well. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for asking, and thanks for being on the show.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm a big fan of Sideshow, and to be doing Strike and Pose with you is an honor.
I can tell you're happy to be here. You're definitely the most festive contestant on today's show so far. That's not a criticism to the rest of you. But yeah, I'm really liking your get-up. It's good to see you in the holiday spirit.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got my Christmas sweater with some T-Rexes on it. I got my Christmas tree. But it appears that I'm the only one that got the memo that it's a holiday special of Strike and Pose.
You are indeed. I actually didn't get that memo myself, clearly. Everything's pretty much the same as it always is.
But look at your setup, though. It's great. Is that a Gambit figure I see back there?
There is a Gambit figure sticking his cards out, just poking through the screen. Yeah, there's quite a bit of X-Men action going on here.
So good. No, he's my favorite X-Men back there. I love that.
Is it safe to say that you are an X-Men fan?
Yeah, actually. I got into acting because I wanted to be an X-Men. I wanted to wear Iron Man's suit. I wanted to use Harry Potter's wand. So yes, I am a big X-Men fan.
I hope producers are paying attention right now. I first became aware of you years ago when my wife took me to see a film called Boy Choir.
You saw Boy Choir?
Yep. My wife was a big fan of Dustin Hoffman, and
yes.
She wanted to go check it out. So, I actually had to go back and doing my research for today's show. I actually said, well, that's the kid from Boy Choir.
Yeah.
Because you left an impression in a way that I remember the dynamic between the two of you being reminiscent of such performances as, say, Lou Gossett Jr. with Richard Gere in Officer and a Gentleman. Just that teacher-student adversarial relationship.
Yeah.
You definitely left an impression. It was very cool.
Thank you so much. No, it's if 12-year-old me knew that Terry Smith was watching the movie, I would be very happy with that. It's cool that you watched that. Thank you so much. And yeah, so now I'm here. I'm 8 years older, and I still look the same.
Yeah, you've got a whole future ahead of you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing more. So yeah, thanks again for taking the time to be here, and good luck today.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here, and I'm ready to kick some butt.
Hello, Paul.
Hey Terry, how's it going?
It's going really well, my friend. Thank you. I'm very excited to have you here. It's very, very cool to have my second favorite X-Wing pilot in the virtual studio with me today.
Well, I am honored to be your second favorite, and I feel like Cinderella at the ball, so this is win-win for me.
I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to the day that I actually get to have my first favorite X-Wing pilot on the show. Looking at you, Dennis Lawson. That's right.
Nice.
So yeah, you've got that going on, and I've also been a big fan of when you turned up with your own YouTube channel. I got really excited. Bitter Asian Dude Incorporated, man, go there, check it out.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it was just a little sort of side hustle thing that started as a lark during the beginning of the pandemic, and it's really grown into something that's really cool and community-based, which I love, and it's just like nerds geeking out with other nerds and building each other up, so It's another dream come true.
You've entertained me mightily. I thank you, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, Terry, and might I say the exact same thing right back to you.
That's very kind of you. Thanks. Your favorite jam. What is your collecting jam?
Oh, right now I've fallen down the Hot Toys well. I was talking to Garrett beforehand, and it's just like it's a slippery slope. It's one of these things where it's like, first it was the Black Series figures, and then when I got my first sort of Hot Toys 1/6 scale, and then the stuff from Sideshow as well, it was just like, oh my God, I've reached another level of existence. Just the incredible level of detail involved with the 1/6 scale. And then, you look at the 1/4 scale stuff, and you're like, oh my God, I can't. There's physically not enough room in the universe for me to get all this stuff. So.
It's like posable statues, the two great tastes that taste great together.
There you go, exactly.
Well, thanks again. I appreciate your time, and thanks for coming on the show. Good luck today.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Rahul. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Terry? Thanks for having me.
It's really, really great to have you here. I have to say that I was legitimately at a Trader Joe's here in St. Louis one day, and I overheard two employees there talking about a show. They were gushing about a show called Midnight Mass.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and they were so enthusiastic about it that I legitimately went home with my bottle of wine and cracked it open and sat down and watched the first episode. I went in blind. I didn't so much as watch a trailer. And your character, Sheriff Hassan, is that right?
Hassan, yeah.
Sheriff Hassan, yeah. What a fantastic character.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's been a bit overwhelming. Like, obviously, I've had shows out before, and you always see I've been lucky enough to see a really healthy response from social media. But Midnight Mass has been the first time that fellow peers and people in the industry have been approaching and giving feedback. It feels like the first time I've been a part of something that seems to mean something to people and their upbringing. So yeah, it's been kind of wild. Yeah, these last few months.
The emotions that your character created within me, just watching his struggle and his relationship with his son, and him agonizing over his past, what happened to his wife, and watching him go through that struggle. Yeah, it's spectacular. So I'm really thrilled to have you here. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Terry. The thing is, if you watch Midnight Mass, you'll know that I can barely just do one pose, which is hands on the hips.
But you do it so well. I mean, just conjured that whole Clint Eastwood vibe. You know,
I have a feeling that's all I could probably bring to this particular figure.
Anybody who watches How to Be a Poser enough knows that I'm a huge fan of the museum pose, if only because it leaves more shelf space for me to bring other figures into the mix. So,
well, I tried. I've been watching your videos because I have way too many Hot Toys. There's like 7 over there that are still boxed because I can't fit. I need another IKEA cabinet. But yeah, I've been using a lot of your videos particularly the Anakin one for inspiration for the Hot Toys.
Yeah. Did you? Is it the one where I forgot to put his sleeve back into the van brace?
That is the one. I didn't do that bit, but no, I did.
Okay, that's good.
From the pose.
That's good. That was probably my biggest embarrassment on the show. So thanks for bringing that up, Rahul.
Hey, no worries. It's all good.
I think just one more thing I'd like to ask: what's your focus? I mean, you talked about your Hot Toys. What's your jam?
A little bit of everything, to be honest. I was a massive. My first real collecting started with the Power of the Force Star Wars figures in the 90s when the re-releases came out. So that was where all my pocket money went to, and then I kind of stopped. I started building my own stuff, so I was working a lot with the fine molds, model kits, and then Bandai. So I got into that, and then Star Wars was always kind of the baseline. So if it's Star Wars related, I was collecting it. So Legion miniatures, and now it's moved on to Gundam, and it's a little bit of everything, but it feels like Hot Toys still reigns supreme right now. I can't resist. I just picked up the Lando Calrissian Hot Toys.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
it's a great one.
It looks fantastic. I haven't taken out the box yet because the box is kind of special, but yeah, Hot Toys is still the main diet.
Well, sounds like we got a trio of action figure fans here. It's going to be a really tight competition already. I can tell. I can't wait to see how it turns out. Thanks again, Rahul, and good luck today.
Thank you. Good luck, guys.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks again for being on the show. Are you ready to find out what figure it is you'll be posing today?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a big box.
Yeah, we'll rip that big box open, man. Pretend it's Christmas because it is.
This is the smallest knife. Pathetic.
If I get the point for the biggest knife, I think I win.
That's not the biggest cut and implement we've seen on the show. We've had people use like full-on Uruk-hai swords to open things.
Oh my gosh. Happy holidays from Sideshow.
I got no leverage. It's so high up. It's so big.
You're a captain with a rebellion, Paul. You got all the leverage you need.
Look at that.
My heart is pounding.
I was told this was going to be 1/6, but this is definitely 1/4.
Yeah, first time on the show. We've never had a quarter scale figure on the show that I can recollect.
Y'all ready for this?
Come to me. Oh, look at that. That is absolutely freaking gorgeous.
Look at this.
I was not expecting this.
Spider-Man Deluxe version, quarter scale collectible figure.
You don't know how many times it took me to get that right in my voiceover.
Oh my god, it's incredible.
I'm just going to take a moment.
What do you think there, Rahul?
It's overwhelming. This is incredible.
Even the cigar band. Even the cigar band.
I know.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. You can see all of those accessories that come on that layer right there. There are actually 3 layers. So you've got some digging to go. Yeah, you've got some digging to do, my friends.
Oh, wow. Look at the base.
No way. No. No, this is not. Is this what I think it is?
It's motorized.
No way.
It's motorized?
Yeah, there's a power source.
Oh, this is a Christmas-sized episode, all right.
You know, I was just sitting here thinking to myself that my mom and dad always told me that the biggest pleasure for them was watching the kids open the gifts under the tree, and I totally get that now watching the three of you.
I don't even know where to begin.
Well, I'll tell you what. When I put my base together, I spent the first 10 minutes trying to do it without the instructions because of an ongoing joke between me and Guy Klender. But after 10 minutes, I was like, "Screw this! I can't. There's no way. I've got to cheat. I've got to break open the instructions." That's right. It is the Spider-Man Deluxe version quarter scale collectible figure from Hot Toys from Spider-Man Homecoming, and it is a magnificent beast of a figure. Statuesque does not begin to describe it. It is at 1/4 scale, effectively the same scale as most of the statues in my personal statue collection, and when properly posed, almost indistinguishable from them. Look how cool this thing looks. And it comes with so much stuff as well. So these guys are gonna have plenty of options to choose from when effecting their pose. Can't wait to see what our posers can do with this great thing, so let's get rolling on that. Garrett, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that is some of the most honest, excited enthusiasm that I've seen in a contestant in Strike a Pose, man. That was some pure joy right there. What do you think?
I think at the end of the day, I'm just a fan, and so to be a fan here doing Strike a Pose makes me very, very happy, and to have this figure in my hands is great.
With all your collecting, with all of your knowledge of pop culture, what do you think it is that's going to give you an edge over these two guys and make you the champ today?
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a good question because, I may be a lot younger than my fellow contestants, but age plays no role in this game of talent.
You call me old?
No, I'm not calling anybody
You're
old.
calling
I'm just
me
saying,
old?
I'm calling out the talent.
I'm in my
where you
30s.
have
I
it.
feel like that's at 30.
Cool. I'm not in my
36.
30s, but I'm not either in my 50s. I'm not that old.
It's all skill. This is a skill-based game, and I'm gonna be the one that has the skill today.
We have multiple generations represented here today. That's fun. Okay, Paul, your enthusiasm was right on point as well, man. I mean, as soon as you saw what this was, you were over the moon.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is honestly, this is an incredible thing to just sort of have firsthand. My first experience with a quarter scale figure. The details are impeccable. I feel like a little kid at a candy store. Like I'm in Santa's workshop, and I've got access to all the toys now. And it's overwhelming. I think I peed a little bit, actually, to be honest, because this was just so exciting to get in my hands. So this is incredible.
So share with us, how are you going to bring this thing home for yourself? How are you going to be the champ today?
You know what? I'm just going to do my best and hope nobody gets hurt during this competition. Really, at my age now, I got to be careful I don't pull a muscle or something like that. My over-exuberance, I have been doing my finger exercises so I can get those, in the wrists. Those are very important flexor points to sort of get going. But I think I have an advantage because being advanced in age, I've had more experience playing with these figures. So I'm hoping to bring some of that experience of my youth from so long ago into posing dynamically this wonderful quarter-scale Hot Toys figure of Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
That's really cool, man. Well, good luck. Rahul, that was some seriously understated joy that I saw on your face. You didn't have a lot to say, but the look of just slack-jawed awe on your face was familiar. I've seen that look. I've felt that look on my face before when I've opened a proper figure.
The Brits watching would know that was a huge British celebration and surprise, which is... Yeah. We're a bit more like under, but inside there was all sorts of fireworks and cartwheels. What I was... Honestly, it's. I know when you unbox a toy or something like that, there is this childhood like reaction, but with Hot Toys in particular, and figures this detailed, they're works of art, right? So it's almost like the set. You're sort of in awe of the level of detail, like the stitching, the pattern that they've managed to put on the fabric here. And I was kind of more trying to analyze already with something like this when you have a one piece. What are the folds going to look like on the fabric, and where, you know what I mean, when you get into the posing, we start pulling up the thighs, like it looks like it moves realistically and it folds correctly. It will still kind of look pretty accurate in a good pose.
As I asked the other two, I'm kind of curious to see what talents do you bring to the table here that your competitors lack. What's going to make you the champion today?
I already have a vision of what I would want to see with this. And I think there is a pitfall to posing this character. I'm not going to say how I'm going to avoid it, but I think that it's an easy trap to fall into. And I'll explain later why I took that approach. So I'm not going to say.
I can't wait to hear it. Awesome. Good luck to all three of you. All right, each of our contestants today has an identical Spider-Man quarter-scale figure from Hot Toys in front of him, as well as an identical array of accessories. Posers, are you ready to begin posing?
You know I'm ready.
All right, then let's begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
That was a little bit too easy.
I'm going to use valuable time on the base so I can get extra points, or I might just abandon it completely and go straight to the figure.
I didn't think anybody would go for that. I didn't think anybody would jump on that. But yeah, that's impressive. Especially after I dropped the fear of God into all of you about how it took me 30 minutes to put the thing together myself. Oh, did I just admit that publicly? I totally did. Wow. All right, now as I mentioned earlier, the base on this thing is enormous. And there, as you can see, there are a lot of complex parts that go into building it. So many that you can actually customize it in any number of ways. This comes off right here so that you actually have a smaller base to work with. The giant wing is in 2 sections here and it can come off or break in half. It does this so that it can suit the needs, the display needs of any given collector. If you have a really, really tall shelf to put this thing on, you might want to build it all the way up here as I have. But if you don't, if shelf space is at a premium, then you might want to keep this thing down, tune it down. Maybe even if it's really super low, then you can actually have Spider-Man standing next to it. There are so many options with this base. With that in mind, we've opted to give these guys a little bit of instruction in assembling the base up to a certain point. After that point, it's up to them whether they continue to build it up a little bit taller or take it down to something less than what it is at the beginning of the show. But in addition to the base, you have all these accessories that you can use exclusively for Spidey, including this fantastic little backpack. What is this, like his 6th or 7th one that he has since he became Spider-Man? Aunt May would know, she's been keeping score. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up this fantastic sculpt of Tom Holland as Peter Parker. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Man, just look at that. It's almost alive. A flying little spider bot, a couple of different holograms, including a holographic map. You also have this really cool cell phone with the face of Ned on it. You can almost hear it ringing. Yodelity, yodelity, yodelity. I don't know, I'll never do that again, I promise. Of course, obviously there's a nice array of hands and this fantastic cloth mask. And that pretty much rounds it up.
I know I've watched episodes of Strike a Pose before, and you like the torso twist, so I'm going to try to incorporate a little bit of that. That is
wise. That is wise. I mean,
some dynamic movement.
I'm a firm believer that no point of articulation should remain untouched. I got some interesting stuff going on there, Rahul.
It's a bit out of the box, right? I know it's not what it's meant for.
No.
So I'm just testing, because I don't know how well it will hold. So
I've never known anybody to do that. And if you're not going to touch the base, then you've got time. Okay, now in recent episodes of Strike a Pose, I have begun implementing the occasional extra point. One of the ways in which I do that is by predetermining before the start of a show a specific accessory that, if used by our posers, will wind up getting them an extra point. Now in this case, given the type of show that we're dealing with here, Spider-Man show, specifically Spider-Man Homecoming, and things that are unique to this particular Spider-Man character, I'm going to opt to go with the backpack. If it winds up being on that pose, in that final display, that poser or posers will earn an extra point. Let's see who actually does it.
Terry, it held.
Look at that.
I know it's not there for that, but it held. I think it's going to hold.
I don't know that anybody's done that. I'm really kind of jealous that you were the first.
The trap with the Spider-Man figure was, if you left it all, it's just one blocky. It's like 2 blocky colors, right? So adding a little bit of difference draws the eye.
Sorry, Spider-Man.
Oh, losing that.
And it's such a good face sculpt. I just want to incorporate it.
I think I see what Paul is doing over there. That's brave.
We shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
There's a man that knows the Spider-Man. We are already at the 10-minute, 30-second mark, gentlemen. How you doing there, Garrett?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Gonna let these old guys show you up?
You know what? I really regret saying that because now I'm biting my word, biting my tongue.
I swear that's not gonna bias me towards you at all, man. Or against you at all, man. Or is it? I'm really excited about Rahul's use of the mask. I don't know if I would have had the courage to attempt something like that myself. I would be afraid that it would rip, but he clearly had no such compunctions. Bravo to him. He's definitely going to get at least 1 point for implementing that. I'm really liking what I'm seeing in Paul's pose here, and so far, if I were to pick a winner, it would definitely be this one. Everything about it just screams Spider-Man, hanging upside down from the web, his feet together, clasping the web between them. I even like the use of that backpack in that way. It just hits Spider-Man to a T. Garrett stated earlier on in the competition that he fully intended to take advantage of that extra 3 minutes to build up his base into something a bit more magnificent. I'm thinking now that the time's moving faster than he probably imagined that it would. Might not be a good idea to do that. Hands off the figures! This is the point in the competition where we throw you guys the curveball. We are at the 6-minute mark, gentlemen.
No!
It's flying.
You know, I watch the show and I'm like, hey, I could totally do that. I can do better than these guys. Turns out I can't. Turns out I'm doing my best and it's not good enough.
I hope everybody out there is paying attention to Garrett. He's exhibiting some very fine wisdom. Freshly gained.
Let me apologize. I'm sorry to those previous competitors.
Okay, now another way that we like to throw an extra point at our posers is before every show, I take a copy of the figure that they've been given and I effect my own pose with it. You can see that I've already done that here today. If at any point during the competition, any poser happens to effect a similar pose to this in any way, and I'm talking about having the arm up, shooting the webs, having him spring forward at the same time, there are certain elements that I will require to be included in that. If they actually hit that, blind happenstance if it happens, then that person will earn himself an extra point today. So let's see if anybody's able to pull that off, shall we? Back to him. Hands off the figures. We're pausing.
No.
Stop where you are.
Here it comes. The devastating change.
Only devastating for one of you, I'm afraid. This is the point in the competition where we throw you guys the dreaded curveball. That's right. We're going to make an adjustment for you in the hopes of making things a little bit more interesting. To that end, if you're using a web in your pose, I'm going to ask you to switch it out right now for a different web.
I haven't used mine yet, so I'm good, right?
It seems like you're good.
When you say switch it out, like remove it completely and put another web in?
That's right.
Mother... I knew it. I knew it. Why? Why? Because nothing can be easy. All right. All right.
So I'm starting the timer again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and begin.
Yeah. Because of course, right? Like that.
Oh, way better. Okay, cool.
There's got to be something else you can use there, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, there is.
Cool.
There is.
And just so everybody's aware, that was determined before the show. I actually recorded an explanation for it yesterday. So.
You mean you don't have a vendetta against Paul?
Not at all. Far from it. No. And
that makes one of us.
Yeah. All right. Now I know what you're all thinking. That's as tough as you're going to go on them? Yeah. I admit it. I went a little bit easy on them with the curveball today, but there's reason for that. This base, if they decide to throw anything on here or take anything away, it's going to take time. And we want to see some awesome poses at the end of the day. Additionally, the figure itself is pretty big. It's a bit more challenging to hit a really pretty pose with a quarter scale figure than it is with 6 scale. And I kept that in mind when I made for them a simple curveball like the swapping of the webs. Oh, he's got the splooch. Guy Klender calls that the splooch, ladies and gentlemen.
Splooch.
The splooch. Garrett's energy is clearly translating itself into his pose. Just look at what he's doing with those legs. The impression of movement is clearly implied, and you can definitely get a sense of direction from it as well.
Might be too small.
What do you think, Mom? How am I doing?
You're doing all right, son.
My mom says that I'm doing
Was your mom
good.
there? Okay, I thought you were talking to me. I'm like,
I apologize for my profanity.
I never apologize for profanity in my
okay.
presence. I speak French.
What are we looking at on time?
3 minutes, 10 seconds.
Oh my god.
Left?
Yes, left.
What do I do with this? Just put it right here? Okay.
Whatever you like. Oh, if you put the stand in the lower part of the base, then it's too late. So you'd have to. So right now you would have to take out the dynamic display stand from the lower part of the base and reinstall it in the top part of the base. Rahul, you're feeling the pressure there?
A little bit, yeah. I think I'm all right.
2-minute warning, people.
Maybe. Oh, should he be swinging into action? Oh, that's the question.
That's a good question. You have 2 minutes to answer it and to achieve the results of that answer.
But where does... I don't understand this. Do they bend? Like...
The webs?
Yeah, how do I'm using a pose... Is this the one? This is what's taken the longest.
That's the one that slides into the specific... There's a specific hand to be used for holding the webs. Do you have that one in there?
I think so. I've got that one.
Yeah, that should do it. That should do it.
But
That's
I
what
don't
usually
know.
use.
And then what? That goes into this nub goes into the web shooter.
The bend part. The bend part. Yeah. 60 seconds, gentlemen.
60 seconds?
Yes. Paul is done. No pressure to the other two.
I'm about to have a cardiac arrest.
Can we get somebody to bring Paul some water?
See, this is the thing. I want to tinker, but that stupid web thing was just so finicky, I'm afraid to touch it.
Yeah.
I want to, just, there's not enough time. Just want to, just...
I appreciate your perfectionism, but I understand why you'd feel the need to hold back. 20 seconds, gentlemen.
Okay. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Oh, God. This isn't going to work. I gotta... Okay.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're done. Hands off figures, show's over. Garrett, man, wow, that was some energetic posing that I saw going on there.
Try my best, man. Look, I've got some good competitors, and now I am biting my tongue about what I said about earlier, but I'm feeling good with this. I want to do you justice, of course, so we'll have to see what you say.
That's okay, man. Don't sweat it. I can take all the age jokes that you can throw my way. Now, talk to me. What have you got going on here? Because this looks at least as energetic as you were today.
So when I think about Peter Parker, I think of flying through the sky, I think of Spider-Man, I think of, the classic poses and the up in the air. You might have seen me doing this during the posing, trying to figure out what that looks like. So I've got him flying through the air, going into battle, ready to go. But the thing is, he's got Nate calling him on the phone. He's a busy guy, but Nate's telling him, you got to get in there, you got to save the day. But he didn't have enough time, so I'll show you the video. He's got his mask hanging out of his backpack. He goes, Nate, I gotta go. I'm going. So he's flying into battle. He's gonna shoot onto something and swing his way to save the day. And he's flying through the air. I wanted to capture that classic Peter Parker energy. I'm pretty happy. Now we got to see how you judge it.
All right. I love what you've got going on there with that. You provided some direction with the way that you pose those legs there. Really digging the mask hanging out of the backpack. That's pretty iconic. I know I've seen that in a panel or two. Yeah, great work, man. Great work.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Paul.
Yeah.
I really threw one at you right there, didn't I?
You did. You screwed me.
I'm so
You
sorry,
screwed me
man.
hard.
Yeah, that was predetermined. That had nothing to do with you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I should have known. I should have known, right? So.
But talk to me. I mean, I think I see what you have going on here, but I'm interested in hearing you explain it.
Yeah, Peter Parker for me, he's still in high school. He's got so many responsibilities on top of being Spider-Man. And for me, he's a kid that's always sort of overwhelmed with so many things. So here we have him. He's just, finished battle against the Vulture. He's late for school. He's got his backpack slung over one arm. He doesn't even have enough time to put it on properly. He's calling Nate to say, hey, cover for me. You got to cover for me because I'm going to be late right now. And so it's him with like a million things on his plate. He's trying to get there. It's the iconic sort of Spider-Man pose where he's upside down on the web, sort of dropping down, inverted. I like that dynamicism of that. The web actually screwed me because this was a perfect length for it initially, and this one's a little bit shorter, so I spent a lot of time sort of futzing with it. So you can see there's an anchor point up here.
Yeah.
So he's actually coming down. The hips, very flexible. I'm really surprised I was able to get the knees and the ankles to sort of bend in that position there. I would have just like to fine-tune a little bit of this, but because of the time constraints, I was just like, the web's staying there, I'm not touching it. That's just the way it is for now. But
if you're anything like me, you'll keep changing that over the course of the next several days, maybe even the next several weeks.
Right.
But just a few things that I want to point out. That use of the vulture wing as a little background effect there. Didn't expect anybody to do that. I knew that it was possible, but I didn't see it coming. So kudos to you for that. Basically, just like everything that you have going. I can't quite tell. Is the web between his feet?
It is, right? And that was the toughest thing, is just to get it to stay there between his feet, because the classic Spider-Man poses, he uses his feet as a sort of a braking system as he slides down the web. So, yeah.
Okay, Rahul, you were feeling the pressure I sensed. Tell me your story. What's going on here?
Well, straight out of the gate, I do like realism. I think that's why you buy these figures. It's to own a piece of it. And after experimenting and trying out, I wasn't too keen on some of the more extreme poses because of how it made the fabric look. So I went for a more simple pose, and I wanted to actually use the base rather than just have, because we're not doing the full base thing. I figured I'd want his body to almost, react to it, hence the 2 levels, and have the legs bent. So I went for a little bit more of a realistic pose rather than the iconic Spider-Man, just to kind of look a bit more like the movie and Tom Holland. I don't want to throw shade because it's all done, but I do feel slightly plagiarized. If we had dividers between our work, I would like to have seen what everyone else would have done, because I do feel like stretching the accessory over the head, which wasn't designed to do that, was mine. But it's all right. It's flattery. Imitation's flattery. But yeah, again, like I knew I was taking a risk with a more subtle approach to him. You don't want to see too many of this, so I tried to keep it as clean as possible. And yeah, it's basically the same as I think everyone else felt, which is Spider-Man's attraction, or the reason why we relate to this character so much, is less about his superpowers. It's more about the juggling. It's more about the duality of the character, and I think we all have echoed that in our work, which is it's one thing and then another. And so for me, Vulture's done. It's back to school, taking a phone call on the way as you're about to. My imagining was he had already webbed and then answered the call and is stuck between what he's supposed to do, and it's the duality in both hands was the idea.
You've really concisely summed up the character right there very well. Yeah, and good job capturing that in the pose. Things that I really like. Yeah, I was genuinely impressed. I think it came across in my commentary during the posing session, but just having the idea to pull that mask over the head, again, wouldn't have occurred to me. Yeah, but I also appreciate the fact that you went with more of a museum, a simple pose, as you put it. I'm a sucker for them. I think that a solid museum pose is genuinely harder to pull off, not only because it's at first glance less attractive as a concept. Your gut instinct as a superhero fan may be to go for a more dynamic pose, but those are not necessarily the best choice, especially if you have, like I've said before, minimal shelf space, or if you have issues with a costume that you don't want to address. So yeah, solid choices all around. Yeah, good job.
Cheers. Thanks, Terry.
Creativity. Composition. Character. So, without further ado, the winner of this episode of Strike a Pose is...
From heroes to villains to creatures, Sideshow's mission is in creating highly detailed statues, posable figures, fine art prints, and prop replicas. At the core of Sideshow is a team of passionate artists and fans dedicated to celebrating our favorite characters and universes. We give fans access to an extensive catalog of hand-picked, high-end collectibles.
Okay, the scores have been tallied, the results are in. But before we move on, I have to bring up a couple of things that have been kept hidden from our contestants until now. As always in Strike a Pose, we endeavor to give our contestants a chance to earn extra points on the odd occasion. In this case, I've kept hidden from you a secret accessory that if used by anybody in the show would earn that person an extra point. In this particular case, that accessory is the backpack.
Yes!
So, congratulations to everybody for using the backpack. Additionally, there is a second chance for another extra point. Before every show, I pose this figure that you guys have posed. And if you happen to, by chance, hit that same pose or anything approaching that pose, then you will get yourself an extra point. Are you ready to see my pose?
Yep.
I know I definitely didn't get close. I'm sure of it.
And here it is.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I think the closest for our case here would be Rahul. Yeah, it's it's a tough call. It's very, very close, but I think I am going to go ahead and reward Rahul that extra point in this one.
I beg to differ, but you do you, man. You're the judge.
Yeah, it's close. He's got a similar museum pose going on. He's got the web in his hand. There are a few differences, but it's pretty close. I think it's close enough. Will it make the difference? Well, we'll find out shortly. So, without further ado, having factored in those extra points into the equation, the winner of this episode of Strike a Pose with a combined total of 24 points now is Rahul.
Good job, bro.
Oh, thank you, man. My favorite. I thought Paul had that one. I thought Paul was on it. Paul had the iconic. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's the front cover of Spider-Man comic."
I really wanted to give it to him, but there were a couple of things. Well, obviously the extra point is legitimately what kicked it over. It was you guys were tied until the extra point came into play.
Humbug!
Yeah,
Humbug!
I really do admire what you did there, Paul. I kind of want to do the same thing myself with my figure here. So, to be honest, I mean, for whatever it's worth, if I'm going to replicate one of these poses, it's going to be the one you just did. So,
I'll take that. Thank you so much.
Sure thing, man. Sure.
Thank you. I was robbed, but I'll take it.
All right, cool.
And just so you know, the whole mask thing, you don't have a lock on that, Rahul.
No, not at all.
Immediately I grabbed it and I was doing that, and it didn't even enter. In my mind, I looked and went, well, of course it'll fit over his head. I didn't even think about it breaking at all.
No, I didn't think so at all. It's such a basic thing. I was just throwing shade at you out of jealousy.
No, well, you won this. Congratulations.
Garrett, I had so much fun watching you work today. When I play with 6-scale figures, or in this case, quarter-scale figures, I'm having the time of my life. I'm having a ball. And to see that, my enthusiasm reflected in your performance while you were posing that figure today was really, really gratifying. And it came across really well in the end pose.
Yeah, definitely. No, I feel very honored to have been included in this, but to say the least, I'm devastated. I'm simply devastated. But I still had a great time. The enthusiasm, it was there. I'm feeling it all. I'm so happy. I'm reinvigorated, and I hope that I can give some of these old guys some of that youth back with these poses and with the figures.
Youth by digital osmosis. If only it were that easy. Yeah, if only it were that easy. If I can just point out the things that I liked most about your pose.
Please.
Obviously, you gave some love to that Tom Holland portrait, and it really does deserve it. Obviously, the mask. I gave you a point for that mask hanging out of the backpack. There are a few things. It's like Paul was talking about, and Rahul talked about it too. The juggling of all the different aspects of his life is what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. So you got not only a point for composition for that, but also a point for character. I really wish there could be more than one winner of this show, because I mean, all three of you guys came out strong. In the end, obviously, there could only be one.
It just means that you have to bring me back, and I can redeem myself. We can have a loser's circle round.
Condolences, man. It was a very tight race. You and Rahul were tied up until the addition of that last point. I had to take away a point because of those wrinkles. That's just a natural consequence of the figure, but it is something that has to be addressed when you're considering your poses. What I do love about it is the way that you just went with the one arm with the backpack. I don't. Was that by necessity? Because
No.
you actually just made that decision.
That's a choice. I mean, when I was growing up, the backpack was always over the one shoulder, not the two shoulder thing. And so I also wanted to show that he was in such a hurry that, you know, usually kids would have him, like Garrett, would have them over both shoulders, but he was just in such a hurry. He's just got enough time to sling it over the one and just go. Yeah. Again, with the wrinkles too, it's like, I know you need to address it, but I still think it's the imperfection which makes it more real. In my mind, that's more realistic than like a Ford runway model pose type thing. So,
right, yeah, I hear you. Points. The other things that you got points for was the use of that wing. Again, I didn't expect that to happen. I also gave you a point for that for the way that you had the web between his feet there, just to use it to support the sploosh. That was spectacular. Yeah. And again, I'm glad that you told me that about the backpack, because I assumed that was for real, and I gave you a point for that as well. Thank you. Really strong stuff.
Thank you. I had so much fun, and this is my first time like really sort of doing dynamic poses, and with a quarter scale, I just like, honestly, my mind is blown. So thank you so much. I had so much fun, and I learned so much too.
Rahul, congratulations.
Thank you, Terry. I like I said, I get accused of only really ever having one pose in selfies and one pose in my pictures, so this is quite validating for me.
Yes, yeah. Having seen some of your photos on Instagram and whatnot, I can actually agree.
The same angle.
It's very much, it's very much, you've owned it. You stepped up. You talked about it before the show, and you stepped up and followed through. Yeah, so good on you for being brave, and obviously your ingenuity with factoring in that mask played a big role. I really appreciated the posture. Everything about it just reads as natural and real. And then to do that while minimizing the wrinkles in the fabric of the suit, downplaying that. Yeah, really brought it home for me. I really love the fact that he's texting Ed. I was actually going to do some yodeling on this show, but I'm not going to do it right now. There's no time for you to recover from the auditory trauma. But yeah, overall, man, just outstanding stuff. Got job well done. I really love it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I forgot almost that it was a competition, and when everyone was finished, I looked back and I was like, oh, I was totally biased with this, which is, I just made how I would pose it, which is pretty simple. And I kind of regretted it, because I was like, well, I should have been a bit more dynamic. But yeah, this is my taste, so it's nice to hear that I won today. But we're all winners.
One of the things I'm fond of saying is that in 6-scale posing or quarter scale in this case, you should always be honest, tell your own story, and tell it your way, and let no one else try to tell you how to do it. Because so if it came from the heart, if this is from you, then yeah, it's pure, it's honest. Good job, and thanks for being on the show, man. I really appreciate you and your time.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been awesome. It hasn't sunk in yet that this goes on the shelf.
I don't know how I failed. I don't know what the problem is, guys. I thought I was doing a good job. They say, hey, let the best man win, and then I'm here getting third place, so I'm not sure what that's about. Terry's he's a good judge. He's a harsh judge, but maybe he's not always correct. But all that aside, all the pain that I'm feeling right now, I will say Paul and Rahul were very talented. They were very nice guys, and even though they had experience over me, the experience played a part, and they did both beat me. Actually, both of them. I got third place. Really, just so happy to be here. So happy to be part of the team on Strike a Pose, and I'm finally living out my dreams of being on Strike a Pose. So, feeling good, even though I'm feeling bad, just like always.
First of all, I'm extremely thankful and humbled that I was able to participate in this, that I was asked. Truly, this was so much fun. I think all the competitors, Garrett and Rahul, they just knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was a tough choice for Terry to make. And, I think he ultimately made the right choice, despite his biases towards museum poses and not, factoring into accounts that perhaps one of us has never done this before and is from another country. And so that's all fine. That's all fine. And the whole like janky sort of bonus point system at the end, where it's like, oh, it's a secret. No one will know about this. But if I need to help one of my friends out, I'll employ this. So, it's cool. It's cool. I had a ton of fun doing this. Honestly, I'm honored. I'm humbled. And I'm proud of this pose, because for me, that's Spider-Man. That's Peter Parker. And I'll keep my head held up high, because I think we all did a fantastic job.
Okay, so I've not won a Grammy or an Emmy or a Golden Globe or anything related to the arts. But somehow this feels just so much more being a geek, being a collector of sideshows, having a shelf full of Power of the Force toys as a 12-year-old, I don't know. This means a lot to me. Yeah, I thought Terry was gonna go with Paul's because it was so iconic, but I guess Terry felt the same way about a little bit more simpler. Yeah, I'm gonna wear this win with pride, and I think I might repose nearly everything I have. I feel a little bit more confident. I feel like I've learned some things today.
All right, now this was legitimately the most difficult time I've had judging a Strike a Pose episode. I straight up wanted every single one of these guys to win. When you think about it, we had in front of us here today 3 accomplished actors who were bringing their storytelling capabilities to the show, and you could see that reflected in every single pose hit with this Spider-Man figure here. It's really something to behold. But ultimately, we have a point system in play just to keep the system honest and to keep my emotions from engaging and interfering in the judging. To that end, Rahul clearly had the best pose and clearly was the winner, although it was very, very, very close. So yeah, congratulations to him, and thanks again to all of them for showing up here today. And that's about it for this holiday edition of Strike a Pose. Be sure to let us know who you thought won the contest in the comments below. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time, and don't forget to let your geek side show.